Welcome to Type Poker. I'm Paul Seaton, and today we're speaking to one of the most famous runner-ups in history. Second in the World Series of Poker Main Event in 2023, Stephen Jones then went on to star in Squid Game: The Challenge. We're going to talk to him about both those particular pursuits today, but we're going to start with his early part of the career. Stephen, thank you very much for coming on the show, and welcome.
Absolutely, yeah. Thanks for having me.
No, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. I know you're a passionate estate agent as well. You have your own realty company over there in Arizona. That kind
Yeah.
of leads me to my first question, really, because you're well known in poker for coming second in the World Series of Poker Main Event in 2023. But you've had a 10-year career in poker, and you obviously had 7 good years before that point. I want to know what your biggest achievement was in kind of pushing you towards that main event, and whether there was a significant signpost along the way for you as a poker player.
Probably my first big score was actually the Colossus. I think it was 2016, maybe 2017. I final tabled the Colossus. There was like 13,000 people. And that's when I started really believing in myself that I could just do big things because that's just an astronomical field. And I was broke when I did that, actually. I was 55 grand in credit card debt.
Oh, wow.
Just yeah, making massive mistakes, and I won 57 grand in the tournament. So I just felt like it was God just giving me another chance. And I thought I was gonna win the million because there was a million off top in that,
Mhm.
but I got ninth place, but hey, we'll take it. And after that, I think I just saw poker like in another light and just really believed in myself after that. So
Yeah, rightly so. We all saw how that ended up, right? But I can imagine that was a very kind of formative result, especially the massive field in World Series of Poker. Getting to the end of a tournament like that, it's almost deserted. It feels it's an odd kind of feeling, isn't it?
it's a what feeling?
It's an odd feeling being down to the final table and have so many people having gone out of that tournament.
Yeah, yeah, no, it is, and I mean, and it's always bittersweet too. Like, unless you get first, there's a little bit of disappointment always there. But at the end of the day, I think you're happy. But in that moment, that first moment when you get knocked out, it's never great. But
Yeah, I learned a long time ago as a reporter never to to give to people 2 minutes after they've busted out of a tournament before asking them what
yeah,
went for them. So coming
yeah.
into going into 2023, obviously that's the World Series Poker Main Event we're going to talk about in general. How much of your career was as a realtor, and how much of your career was a poker player? Were you beginning to blend between the two, or were you still very much focused on your job?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I was focused more on real estate just because that is guaranteed and poker you can lose money, so it's a little bit scarier to have that balance lean more towards poker before you have a big result. So I would say I was probably like 70 30, 75 25, something like that, more real estate,
Hmm.
and now it's flipped completely the other way. So yeah, ever since the main event, but yeah, I was grinding mostly real estate.
Yeah. You said about the Colossus result. You must have thought, oh, I could win the million dollars. Of course, in the main event, it was 12 million, the biggest, 12.1 million, I should say, the biggest prize ever in main event history. It remains the case, and probably will be the case for a long number of years. When was the first point that you thought I could win this?
Probably, I think there was like 30 people left in the main, or somewhere around there. And I was chilling, I was cruising. I had maybe 50 or six, maybe 40 to 50 big blinds. And I got it all in with another guy who had about the same stack as me. We pretty much had the exact same stack. I had queens against his ace king. And it was sweaty, but I held. I had the queens, clean run out, and I doubled and had like 100 bigs. And I was pretty sure I was chip leader or close to, I was like top three or chip leader at that point. And then I was like, holy crap, like this is insane. And I just remember my mom was there at that point actually, and she was sitting on the stands like right across, and I'm just like, let's go, like this is crazy.
That's pretty insane to have someone you're obviously so close to right there in sharing that moment with you. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, my mom actually taught me poker when I was like 12, so
Oh wow.
she was my first call when things started getting real to fly her out and have her come out to Vegas.
Some sort of lucky charm there. So is she still giving you strategy tips and like little pieces of advice, even deep in the main, or was that point that you were like, no, I got it from him,
Yeah,
Mum.
yeah, no, no, more like the other way around these days.
I love that. I love that. We're down to the kind of final table, and a couple of tables before. Obviously, Daniel got lucky with pocket jacks in a very famous hand, but once he got to the final table, there hadn't been an American winner for 3 years, and then the final three were all American. I spoke to Daniel a few weeks ago, and he said that filled him with a kind of a source of pride. Was that the same for yourself in thinking we are three Americans? There will be an American winner this time.
Yeah, kind of. Because we were talking about that, how there hasn't been an American winner, and then there was three Americans at the final table, and then next thing you know, we're all three left. So we kind of had this little camaraderie, or we said something to each other once we realized, hey, we all did it as Americans. There's going to be an American winner, so it was kind of cool.
Yeah, very much so. And of course, you got Adam went out, Adam Walton went out, and you made it heads up with Daniel. That obviously didn't go the way you wanted to go. But what was that experience like? Just the feeling of the cash on the table and the bracelet, and just getting so close and just imagining it. I suppose how hard is it to stay present in that moment? I want to ask.
Yeah, I think it was kind of hard actually. I didn't have any nerves the entire tournament until we got heads up, and then I'm like, holy crap, this is insane because now every single hand you play is being watched. Whereas like you could fold and have a hand off, and then the cameras are on these guys after you fold, but there's none of that when there was heads up, so it was just a little bit more intense, I feel like. Um, but I don't think it was too distracting. It was a little nerve-wracking, but I mean, I did what I could still. I don't think it affected my play, I guess.
No, it didn't. It certainly didn't look like it from the outside as someone working in the industry. What I did notice was that you were both very strong personalities. Often, when it's heads up, you get say one Chris Moneymaker, who you know is kind of quite big and going to be louder, and Sammy Farha sort of silently sat there grinding away at each hand. It felt like you were both kind of the alpha personality. Was there sort of in any way a kind of a shift of balance between you over the heads up, where you kind of wanted to get your personality out there? Because that happens in Squid Game, and I noticed that you used your personality very well. So was that something you were conscious of doing in the main event?
During heads up or just in general?
But in general, but I think final table in particular, because that's where personality really has to rise up a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think I just try to be myself in all the moments. So I guess I don't really think about it too much because I feel like there's ebbs and flows in tournaments where like, hey, sometimes based on how everyone is, I'm gonna be like a louder person or I'll be quieter. So I think I just ebbs and flows based on how I'm feeling, but I didn't really think about it heads up wise. I was just trying to win and trying to make a comeback because after Adam gave him all the chips, it was I had an uphill battle, I guess, a little bit, but I can't say I'm mad at how that happened, but it was definitely an uphill battle. So I think I was more so just trying to concentrate in that moment and not even think about, the funny bits or whatever I could do.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's such a sort of balance of power, especially like you say, third place going out means you're definitely finishing. You're winning $6 million, which is an amazing sum of money, but you're at a
Yeah.
disadvantage because the chip leader got those chips, right? So it's a,
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah,
shame.
exactly. And I came in three-handed and I just lost a bunch of hands in a row. And so I was already kind of like not tilted, I would say, but getting there.
Yeah,
So when that happened, I was like, okay, this is good because I was getting crushed in every hand that I played. So this is fine. I'm okay with it.
I like that. The
Yeah.
kind of emotional shift there. That's
Yeah,
interesting
it
to watch.
was. It was an emotional shift. Yeah, which
Yeah.
in a good way. So,
Yeah. Oddly, since you both competed in that heads up, Daniel's gone on to kind of leave poker. He's gone back to his job and seek another challenge. You have done the same, obviously, with Squid Game. Was there a sense of that final table that you'd kind of completed poker? To win $6 million at poker for a 10K tournament, is an incredible return on your investment. Is there ever a feeling of, well, it's never going to get better than this in your mind at that point?
I'm crazy enough to think that that's not the case. I somehow I think I'm gonna do something like this again. So I think that drives me because I didn't win and I got second. I think it drives me to. I mean, maybe I don't think I'm gonna win 6 million, but I think I'm gonna win some big tournaments and just keep having a long standing poker career and just do more big things. So that's really driving me to kind of just jump in even more. Um, I almost made a deep run in the World Series of Poker Main in Europe this year. I got
Yeah.
20. Well, I did make a deep run. I got 24th. I mean, I almost found final tabling that. That would have been sweet to final table that too. Didn't happen, but I'm still in these tournaments and running deep, so I think I'm gonna do it again soon.
Well, it could be three times the charm, right? After very close in the main event and Squid Game, you look at next time you're in that position, it could be the one.
Yeah.
I like that you mentioned the World Series Poker in Europe because obviously the main event was huge this year. There's only one
Yeah.
person who's ever won it in both locations, Phil Hellmuth. He's won both main events. But to reach the final table in both locations would have been pretty sweet. That's a very rare
Yeah.
occurrence as well. So to get that close,
I
it,
know it was so frustrating. That was actually the most tilted I've ever been getting knocked out of a tournament just because of the implications of being
right.
able to final table both. So when I think I got 24th or 25th right in there.
Yeah.
Oh, I was tilted for like a good 2 hours there. I went to
Well,
my room and just screamed.
that's a healthy way of processing anger. I'd say in the moment you didn't. Well, I'd say Matt Affleck it, but I kind of love Matt Affleck's bust out of the main event. That's one of my favourite hands of all time. Not because Matt busted, because Matt's an amazing guy, and I spoke to him a few years ago about that exact bust out. But you're so close to such a prestigious prize. It's not just the money at that point, is it? Especially for yourself having won that money. It's more about the
Yeah.
prestige, right?
Yeah, well, 100%, yeah. And being able to do something that not many people have done, final table two big events like that. I mean, it's just, yeah, definitely a lot of prestige that comes with that and respect.
Yeah. When did you think of moving on from 2023, going back to that main event? It wasn't that long because of filming. We know how long it takes to film these shows. It wasn't that long between that final table and then filming Squid Game: The Challenge. Were you an avid fan of the first series and thought I can win this, or was it more of a casual what shall I do with my time question?
Honestly, it was dumb luck. So I'm more of a fan of I was watching Love is Blind and I was single at the time and I was like, "Oh, this show is great. I love this show. I want to apply." So I applied for Love is Blind and because I applied for that show, then I got an email from Netflix, "Oh, we're casting for Squid Game." I didn't even know what Squid Game was when I applied for it. But I was like, "Okay, well, shit, I'm here. Screw it. I'll apply for this too." And I got a call within like a week from
Oh,
Squid
wow.
Game, and I was like, and they were like, yeah, we want to set up a Zoom interview, and I was like, shit, I've never even seen the show, I gotta go watch it. So I didn't watch it until before I had the Zoom interview. I just binged the whole thing, and then I was like, okay, it was exciting watching it because then you're putting yourself in the shoes of like, okay, what would I do? Watching it from that angle, and yeah, did the Zoom interview and then got the part. So I actually got it because of poker because
Yeah.
yeah, once I told the guy like, how much I've won in poker before, his jaw dropped, and I mean, he basically was like, "Okay, this is awesome. He's like, you're probably gonna get it. We have to run it through, a couple more managers or whatnot, but it's looking good." So,
It's a unique kind of story because I was a big fan of the first series. Obviously, enjoyed Squid Game on Netflix as well. When it came to the challenge, obviously no death, but a lot of puzzles and a lot of strategy. And the first series seemed to me to be filled with maybe 98% of people who really believed that it was destiny or luck that would take them all the way. I thought it was a brilliant first winner. I won't spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen the first series, but the winner
yeah,
was wholly strategic and approached things in exactly that way. My thought on watching the first series was, why can't they get a poker player? Because this would be exactly who I'd want to see.
yeah,
Not only would I root for them, but they'd come in with this kind of strategic. And then, of course, here you are, and you arrive in season two. But we didn't see you for very long. You were in the background for some time. Was that a
yeah.
strategic point from your side? Like just like in a poker tournament, you can kind of stay under the radar. When did you kind of decide to play it like that, or did you not play it like that?
Yeah, no, that was exactly the strategy. Actually, me and my boy in the show Kevin, we're super close. And we just I mean there were so many loud personalities and people that just they wanted to be on TV and you could tell they were just doing extra stuff at the
Hmm.
beginning, which in our eyes was painting a target on their backs. And our idea the whole time was to just stay in the background until there's like, maybe 50 people and then we can kind of start being a little bit more strategic because just to paint a target on your back so early is just not good. And a lot of people did that, and then people were coming for them. So that was kind of the strategy. Is just to kind of hang out, not be too loud, just tone down our personalities because I do have a loud personality, and it worked.
It
It worked
did, and I
for
mean,
the first half.
the games were really they were very different. There were a lot of them that were physical in the second series. I noticed that, but the strategic ones, for example, the marbles game, seemed unfairly balanced in your favour. I just thought, well, there's no this poor woman has no chance of outwitting it.
Oh man,
Is
honestly,
that the easiest game, or
no. It's not anything that it seemed to be. I swear.
oh
I have
wow,
to set the record straight on this one. That that woman, she was like one of my closest allies in the game, and they made it look like I was being a savage to her, but I wasn't. The editing was so bad on that. Like we were hugging each other, we were having good talks, and I was doing these faces at her just because I was being silly. But she was beating me. I think we did it like first to five marbles.
Yeah.
She had four marbles and I had one. I literally got four in a row, and she almost had me out. But it doesn't show how close the game was between me and her. Just kind
No.
of sees me making these faces at her, which I was being goofy, but they kind of edited it to where I was being savage to her. But really, I was trying to be sweet because she was such a sweet woman, and she's actually like an elementary school teacher, has a sweet voice. She's just so nice that yeah, I was actually just being nice to her, but they made it look like I was kind of just like clowning on her and had all these facial things, which I was just being goofy. So yeah, that was one thing that was just completely different than how they made it look though, actually, because I almost got knocked out on that part.
I can only suspect that they kind of did that from a narrative perspective because
Yeah,
very soon afterwards is the Snakes and Ladders game where it's one of the most outstanding games of both seasons where it really got personal. You got picked on quite a
yeah,
bit and being sent back from the
yeah.
board. It's a very it says Snakes and Ladders, but it's a very very tough game to win. And you were obviously in a pair as well, so you weren't just responsible for yourself all of a sudden. You had
Yeah.
someone else to carry through. What was that game like? Take me through that game, the
So
emotions.
yeah, so I would say that editing was super legit. That one was everything that you could feel, and probably worse in person because there was so much tension in there that you could cut it with a knife. But I mean, going in, I didn't realize there was as much of a target on my back,
Mm.
and until the first team just, I mean, they picked us because we were the first people on the board, but also then I started hearing when that like people wanted to get me out because they started realizing that I was a poker player. So they picked us because they wanted me to get eliminated. But unfortunately, my partner Kevin got eliminated in that. And once I came back through the game in the slide, I just saw red. I was like, okay, I'm coming for everybody. Screw these guys. I was just like, I'm just gonna. I don't even care if I make it past this game because now I'm here with all these people, of which none of them were my friends except for pretty much Kevin, and then Kate. Kate was there still, but like it
Yeah.
was just a lot of bad energy in there, and I didn't want to be without Kevin for the rest of the game because it drags out. I mean, we were in there for weeks, so who knows how much longer it was going to go. So my strategy after that was just I'm gonna get revenge. I'm gonna eliminate everyone any chance I get. Screw this. I don't even care if I win. And somehow I still made it out of that game alive. I still don't know how to this day because I was at the bottom like the whole time. That one was a bit crazy.
You just went Rambo. You ran over the table,
Yeah.
as they might say in poker, and you seemed to me to be you didn't like you just said you didn't care. I love that
I
that's
didn't care.
exactly it because watching it as a fan, I was obviously rooting for you. I wanted you to go on and win it because I could say, look, I said a poker player would win this, but obviously you didn't. But you got so close on the back of that game. I was like, he's got this now. Surely he's got this now. Even without Kevin, who you're right to say was a big ally, and you missed him going
Yeah.
forward, didn't you? Really?
Yeah, yeah. It was definitely uncomfortable after he was out because people people were not liking me. But
No.
but I mean, it was just everyone was highly emotional, and I think I could be in a different mindset because I've already won a big chunk of money, and everybody else in there was just like, "Oh my God, this is destiny for me." So they're putting so much pressure on themselves
Yeah.
to why they were crying, they were getting emotional because they were like thinking, "This is my destiny," which is I feel like that's just putting too much pressure on yourself in that moment because only one person can win the money. So that's why I think everyone was getting so emotional in the season.
Yeah, one of the best games in there for any poker player was Circle of Trust, which is just essentially a bluffing game, and
Yeah.
everyone was after you in that game. Now, I was hoping that as a viewer that you'd maybe avoid some of the pitfalls of being given the thing to hide, and then but you seem to be in every single situation. Like someone put it on your desk and you called them out, or you had to hide it and you had to escape being called out by other people. How nerve-wracking was that, and how much did your poker history play into you being able to keep on the side of most people? Because Daya, she thought you were guilty. She would have voted you out at any point, right? No matter
Yeah.
whether
Oh yeah, yeah.
she was after you personally. But the
Oh
rest
yeah,
of
for
the
sure.
players weren't necessarily. They were, like you say, thinking about themselves and very emotional. So, how did you play that to your advantage in that game?
Well, so I think well, there was one person who called me out, thought I put it on their desk. I didn't. But I think everyone was a little bit more afraid to put it on my desk because they knew I was a poker player, even though like Deja and Perla, I think they would have given the chance. But I think everyone else was kind of just like, I don't want to mess with that, right? So I think that gave me a little bit of level of protection between some people.
Mm.
But unfortunately, I don't know how the ball grabbing thing worked, but it was just a random ball that they grabbed for, everybody. And I had to go twice. So did Kate, my ally, and then one of my other allies had to go twice. So I thought it was going to be a lot easier. I'm like excited for this game, but the first time I put something on someone's desk and then they're interrogating, it's not like poker, like 'cause it just feels like you're just lying. Where in poker, you're bluffing, it's part of the game, so you can justify it in your mind. Here, I'm just blatantly lying, and I feel so guilty. I was actually so nervous with the first person interrogating me, and she almost got me, but then last minute she switched to someone else, and I'm like, oh God, thank you. But then the second time I had to go and I had to put it on someone's desk, I think I got a little bit more calm, and then I started thinking about how badly I looked or how guilty I looked. So then I started changing like, okay, my strategy and what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna misdirect this person instead, and I wasn't as nervous the second time. But yeah, that first time I had to put the box was definitely way more nervous than any bluff I've ever ran in poker ever. So
I love that. I love that. You made it through to the final five and then four. Weirdly, when there were five left, a guy chose to just take himself out of the running for everyone else's benefit, which to me seems like the most insane thing to do in any reality TV show ever. But what was that
yeah.
like as a person involved in that? Were you trying to convince him not to do that? Or were you like, okay, go ahead?
Yeah, no, I mean, I didn't want him to do that because I felt like everyone had a fair chance of winning, and it just didn't make sense. Like, I was like, why would you do this? And I just thought in my mind he was making a big mistake in that moment. So I was the first person who realized because I had to go up first, and he's like, no, I want that coin. Tell me what it's in. And I was like, can't tell if he's messing with me, but like, he had chosen the right correct one for him. So I was like, okay, it's actually in the other one. So if you want the other one, and then I realized, like, why is he doing this? Oh my gosh, he's gonna. And then he started tearing up a little bit, and I realized, oh my gosh, he's gonna do this for everybody. I don't know. I don't get I just don't understand it. I mean, I I think there was maybe a little bit. Maybe he was afraid of failing at the final game, but I mean, he's also a big believer in God, Jesus Christ, and he was doing it for that reason, which I don't understand either because it's like, hey, God put you in this position. Maybe you're supposed to be the winner. So I
Yeah.
don't know. I mean, yeah, I don't know. That was wild. That was wild.
It almost becomes a philosophical question, doesn't it, when you get down to the brass tacks of five people left and somebody is going to win all that money? To make that kind of choice seems insane. Have watched it back since, and I think it would have been the bluff of a lifetime if he'd then taken the other course. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
It would
yeah,
have been the most insane, the tears, If he'd then just he'd chosen to switch, everyone would have believed him. The
yeah.
last person even would have believed him. They would never have
Oh yeah,
suspected him. He would have got
yeah,
away with
yeah.
the biggest heist of all time. But anyway, he didn't. And you moved on to the final. You came very close. I thought red light, green light played into your strengths in particular because you're tall, you're kind of you're quite physically strong, and I felt
Yeah.
like if anyone was to kind of win it from there, it would be you. But I've since watched interviews where they say that it takes a lot longer while the doll is on red light and you can't move. So explain to me a little bit about the process because the editing seems quite harsh in that particular series.
Yeah, I wasn't too happy with the edit there because they make it look like it's like a 3 minute race, and if that were the case, I would be $4 million richer 100%. But we were stopped for 10 minutes at a time, and I have crazy ADHD, so I was already like, shit, this is not good. I can't stand still to save my life. I've never played that game as a child. I don't like sitting still. If you can tell, I'm just always fidgety. But yeah, we were paused in our positions for 10 minutes at a time. They didn't give us a lot of directions, so we don't know if we like do that. Is that going to eliminate us? Like a little movement. So we're just sitting here like shaking, like like the most nervous I've ever been. I mean, we're playing child's game for $4 million. The first stop, they pause it for 10 minutes. They open up these big double doors. This whole camera crew comes up, stick cameras in your face. Then they pull out a drone. There's drones flying around getting shots. And then there was another time where I think it was the second stop. They opened up They put these cameras in our face. They go back in. The drones come out. Then they open up the double doors again. The guys come back in, put cameras in. Like they kept doing it to us, and we're just like sitting there trying not to. So my whole foot went numb on my left side because we were wearing these dress shoes that nobody had worn before. They just finally gave us new shoes because we're wearing these sneakers the whole time. Now we have these dress shoes that aren't broken in. So my left foot was just like
Oh,
cutting off the circulation. So my leg was shaking, and I was like, if I don't get down to the ground and get on my knees, I'm not going to be able to stand still on the next round because my leg has no feeling in it. So that was my strategy. I just got down at too late at the end of the song. I tried to like, just hop down. I should have done it at because it was a last minute decision. I should have done it at the beginning of the song and started crawling, but
yeah.
I did it at the end, and so my movement went after she stopped singing. So just a just a massive mistake on my part. Honestly, I dropped the ball.
It was a physical mistake, though. I like the way you reference the dress shoes because there is simply no way anyone would play that game on sand in those shoes. It
Yeah.
seemed to me to be very. That's not the case in Squid Game, the show. They all have normal, regular trainers on. They've got the sneakers on the whole way, haven't they? So that's not the case in the show. So I kind of felt like that went against the ethic of the
The sh-
show, especially with there being 10 minutes between. I didn't know it was that long. That seems
yeah.
very, very
Yeah, it
difficult
was.
compared to.
And even the runner up, she tore her Achilles because of like being in those shoes. I think standing still for 10 minutes and then going to a sprinting position is just, I
Yeah.
mean, you're freezing up your muscles and then you're working them. So it just, yeah, it wasn't it wasn't the best.
It was just the last one standing in the end. She could just walk over the line, and she was kind
Yeah.
of not in real life, I'm sure, but in the context of the game, she was kind of a nemesis to you. At certain points, she definitely wanted you out. How did you feel when
Oh
she
yeah.
won it? What did you feel like? Well, do you know what? I had my kind of $1 million win, and she's got hers now, or were you bitter at the time? Because I would have been.
I was bitter at first for sure, to be
Yeah,
honest. But then after a while, then I was like, okay, well, I got mine, now she's, and I realized her family story situation and her parents were immigrants and that still don't have a lot of money. So I'm like, you know what, this is gonna go a long way for that family. So then I was kind of very happy for them after. But yeah, we definitely had our moment of rivalry. We didn't like each other for a little bit there, but since then we've kind of squashed all that and we're cool now.
that's good. She hasn't quite won as much as you, but she's caught up a tiny bit. You've done very well in poker. What's the next
Yeah.
challenge for you, Stephen? Obviously, Squid Game is a very unique show, one you probably can't do again. But the kind of carousel of reality TV in America is such that you could well be popular on other shows. Is it something you've considered doing, or would you rather stick to poker in the future?
I mean, I want to do a little bit of both still. I've been applying for a few different shows, but I just haven't got anything yet. I thought it would be a lot easier or a slam dunk to get on something else, but maybe I haven't applied for the right show yet. There's still a few more that I haven't applied for that I think would fit the mold for a crossover. So we'll see what that looks like. But I do think I'll get on another show at some point. And then of course I'm just going to be playing a lot of poker still. The World Series of Poker's coming up in a month here, so I'll be in Vegas all summer and hopefully can have a big summer this year.
Absolutely, a World Series bracelet and maybe an appearance on the Traitors or something like that would suit you. I think
Yeah, yeah, for
that
sure. That's one of them I have to apply for still that I want to apply
yeah,
for.
I think you could do very well on that show. Let me say that for sure.
Yeah,
So
which will be
it's
cool.
been lovely talking to you, Stephen. Thank you so much for your time. Obviously, great good luck at the World Series of Poker. You're already a legend in WSOP terms, but we hope you go one step further and get the bracelet this summer. And yeah,
Yeah,
congratulations on your achievements so far in your career from all of us at Type Poker.
yeah, I appreciate that. Really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Stephen.